It's been a crazy 24 hours for celebrity news. Lisa Marie Presley has just passed away at 54 years old. Kanye West has secretly gotten married. Justin Roiland, the voice actor for Rick and Morty, is awaiting trial on domestic violence charges. Stick with me because I'll get into everything in this video. First, Lisa Marie Presley, the daughter of Elvis and Priscilla Presley, has tragically died at the age of 54. Yesterday morning, she was rushed to the hospital for a possible cardiac arrest. When paramedics arrived, they began CPR. And when they noticed that Lisa Marie was showing signs of life, she was quickly taken to a local hospital for immediate medical care. Her death was confirmed by her mother just a few hours after her daughter was rushed to the LA hospital. She said, "It's with a heavy heart that I must share the devastating news that my beautiful daughter Lisa Marie has left us. She was the most passionate, strong, and loving woman I have ever known." Lisa Marie was born in Memphis, Tennessee on February the 1st in 1968, which is exactly 9 months after Elvis and Priscilla's wedding. Her birth was international news because she was the couple's first and only child. As she grew up, it became obvious that she shared a lot of her father's charisma and talent, and she ended up following in his footsteps by releasing her own rock albums in the 2000s. Voice was also added to several of Elvis's songs like In the Ghetto and Don't Cry Daddy. Lisa Marie lived with her mother in California after her parents split up in 1973. She recalled early memories of her dad during her visits to Graceland, riding golf carts through the neighborhood and seeing his daily entrances down the stairs. She said, "He'd always wake me up to sing in the middle of the night, get on the table and sing. I remember him as my dad, but he was a very exciting dad." Elvis Presley died in August 1977 when he was 42 years old and Lisa Marie was only 9. She was staying at Graceland at the time and would recall him kissing her goodnight just hours before he would collapse on the floor and never recover. The next time she saw him was the following day, and she found him lying face down in the bathroom. She said, "I just had a feeling he wasn't doing well. All I know is I had that feeling and it happened." But sadly, Lisa Marie would later make headlines of her own, particularly for her struggles with addiction and some very public marriages. She was actually married 4 times, and her ex-husbands included Michael Jackson and Nicolas Cage. In October of 1988, Lisa Marie married Chicago-based musician Danny Keough, with whom she welcomed 2 children, a daughter Riley in 1989 and a son Benjamin in 1992. After 5.5 years of marriage, the couple divorced in May of 1994. Less than a month later, she married none other than Michael Jackson. The two of them actually met at one of her father's Vegas concerts when she was 7 years old, and Michael was still a member of the Jackson 5. They seemed to be very in love at the time of their marriage, but only 2 years later they ended their relationship. In 2000, Lisa Marie got engaged to a Hawaiian-born musician, although that relationship ended when she met Nicolas Cage at a birthday party that very same year. 2 years later, they got married during a secret ceremony in Hawaii on the 25th anniversary of Elvis's death. But less than 4 months after their wedding, the newlyweds announced that they were splitting up, and Lisa Marie admitted that they shouldn't have gotten married in the first place. Her 4th marriage came in 2006 to Michael Lockwood, and 2 years later they welcomed twin daughters Harper and Finley. The singer then filed for divorce in June of 2016, and ever since their separation, the former couple have been embroiled in an ongoing custody battle over their children. Apart from her music career, Lisa Marie was also a dedicated philanthropist, as she oversaw the Elvis Presley Charitable Foundation, which benefits homeless families and offers rent-free housing. She also worked with Oprah Winfrey's Angel Network to provide relief to those affected by Hurricane Katrina, and the Dream Factory to benefit children with life-threatening illnesses or disabilities. News of her tragic passing is certainly overwhelming, but it's good to see that many of her friends and fellow celebrities have paid tribute in the best way possible. Next up, we are going to talk about the fact that Kanye West has just gotten married again. Who would have thought that we would be hearing wedding bells at a time like now? Well, it's safe to say that people are shocked. It turns out that he secretly married the architectural designer for Yeezy, Bianca Censori. In early January, the rapper was spotted arriving at the Waldorf Astoria alongside his new wife, wearing a chunky silver band on his left hand, which is probably the most obvious symbol of his marriage. According to TMZ reports, there has been no marriage certificate filed, so the ceremony might not be legal yet. In terms of her role within the Yeezy brand, it's a bit of a grey area, but it's been reported that Bianca is essentially Kanye's employee, and has been for quite a few years now. We know that she wields the position of head of architecture in the company, and that she obtained a master's degree in building design at Melbourne's University in Australia. But the craziest part about all of this is that she looks strikingly similar to his ex-wife Kim Kardashian. With her long brown hair that she recently dyed blonde, the two of them seriously look like twins. The reason so many people are surprised by the marriage is that Kim and Kanye have just finalized their divorce 2 months ago. Since then, they've had a lot of clashes, and let's just say that they're not on good terms at the moment. In November last year, it was revealed that the former couple will be receiving joint custody with equal access to their 4 children. Kanye will also be required to pay his ex-wife $200,000 a month in child support, and he's responsible for 50% of their kids' educational and security expenses, which is obviously a crazy amount of money, but according to the court documents that Kim filed, all 4 of their children require that amount, because that's going to cover their private security, private school, and eventual college costs. Also, when you're that wealthy, it's more about lifestyle upkeep, because when it comes to child support, the goal is to ensure that children affected by divorce are able to carry on with the life that they are used to, and their kids, 9-year-old North, 6-year-old Saint, 4-year-old Chicago, and 3-year-old Sam, are all quite used to a lavish lifestyle despite being so young. They attend Sierra Canyon School, which is a private day school in LA where tuition runs from $20,000 a year just for pre-kindergarten students and $40,700 for high schoolers. We also know that North has attended fashion weeks with her mother since she was a baby and frequently flown in private jets from New York to Paris and Milan. As for Kim though, she really seems to be struggling to co-parent with Kanye after his extremely controversial behavior. She went on Angie Martinez's IRL podcast and said, "I definitely protected him, and I still will in the eyes of my kids, for my kids. So in my home, my kids don't know anything that goes on in the outside world." At one point in the interview, she admitted that she was trying to keep her kids from being exposed to their father's anti-Semitic statements. She said, "I'm holding on by a thread. I know that I'm so close to that not happening, but while it is still that way, I will protect that to the end of the earth as long as I can. My kids don't know anything." Apparently, she has to become best friends with their teachers so she can keep tabs on what they are exposed to at school. Then at home, she has to limit their access to social media and what they can watch on TV. Kim insisted that none of her children's schoolmates have ever said anything to them about their dad's current situation. She went on to say, "Of course I want to disassociate him in specific thoughts and things being said because that's not me. But if we're riding to school and they want to listen to their dad's music, I have to have that smile on my face and blast his music and sing along with my kids and act like nothing's wrong. As soon as I drop them off, I can have a good cry and text back and do what I gotta do." Towards the end of the interview, Kim breaks down crying and says, "Co-parenting is effing hard." The fact is that not many people realize what an uncomfortable position she is now being put in, considering that Kanye still has joint custody and of course the children still need their father. It's obvious that she's really struggling to shield all 4 of them from his controversial behavior, but that's an extremely difficult task when you think about how long he's stayed in the headlines over the last couple of months. But if anything, it's good that Kim has finally opened up and denounced Kanye's actions, instead of just remaining silent and hoping that the scandal eventually dies down. And lastly, you won't believe this, but Justin Roiland, the star of Rick and Morty, has been charged with felony domestic violence against a former girlfriend. He is now awaiting trial for an incident that occurred in January of 2020, for which he was charged with 1 felony count of domestic battery with corporal injury and 1 felony count of false imprisonment by menace, violence, fraud, and deceit against the woman he was living with at the time. Roiland pleaded not guilty to the charges in October of 2020 and appeared in court yesterday for a pre-trial hearing. If he is found guilty, Roiland could face up to 7 years in prison. His attorney, T. Edward Wellburn, released a statement saying, "To be clear, not only is Justin innocent, but we also have every expectation that this matter is on course to be dismissed once the district attorney's office has completed the methodical review of evidence. We look forward to clearing Justin's name and helping him move forward as swiftly as possible." We know that Roiland was arrested and released on a $50,000 bond in August of 2020. He was arraigned in October and a protective order was filed, saying that he is not to threaten or surveil the woman involved, and he also cannot go within 100 feet of her. During yesterday's hearing, his attorney confirmed that there is a plea offer available, but he did not discuss those details. This news certainly comes as a surprise to Rick and Morty fans, because it's one of the most popular adult cartoon comedies ever created. The show's 6th season aired in September last year, and a 7th season was ordered by Cartoon Network as a part of a long-term deal for 70 new episodes. Justin Roiland co-created the series with Dan Harmon, and he voiced the 2 main characters. So this trial could present a major problem for Adult Swim, considering that Roiland is a massive contributor to the network. But the crazy thing is that while this domestic violence case has inched along over the past 3 years, his career has only progressed. He won an Emmy for Rick and Morty in 2020, co-created and voiced the main character in Hulu's Solar Opposites, which just got renewed for a 5th season, and released 2 NFT collections, one of which sold for more than $1.6 million. He also sold his first painting and released the top-selling video game called High on Life, which officially became the most played Xbox game the week of its release. The longtime executive producer and voice actor also has another big project that's just been released, and many have called it his craziest one yet. On January the 9th, Roiland came out with his brand new Hulu series called Koala Man, starring Hugh Jackman. The story follows middle-aged dad Kevin and his not-so-secret identity as Koala Man, whose only superpower is a burning passion for following rules and taking care of petty crime. As for reviews, so far so good. The series has surprisingly been hailed as a relatable, authentic portrait of Australian suburbia, but some fans are starting to wonder whether or not Roiland's new project will be affected by his upcoming trial, because over the next couple of months there is bound to be new details released about the case, and it's going to get a whole lot more publicity, which will no doubt cause a massive divide among Rick and Morty fans, and depending on the verdict, it might even lead to the cancellation of the show. After all, Justin Roiland literally voices both Rick and Morty, so replacing him is going to be impossible, but that's still something that remains to be seen. Well, that's all the news we have for today. Please let me know what you think in the comments below, and I'll catch you in the next one.